forward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation. We ain't got nothing.
Hey folks, Dude here, coming in again, another edition of Dude After Dark. This one, of course, being one of my standard deals where I am, well, it's not standard. I'm not at home. You see, the surroundings are different, and I'm literally rocking this on my laptop. I don't know how the picture looks in terms of the way it looks for you guys, but it's a little grainy on my side, but it actually looks kind of clear. I don't know how it's going to look in terms of what you guys are seeing, but those of you in the room, you can give me a heads up on how things are looking on your side of the equation. I would truly appreciate it. Unfortunately, Sound Guy is not around, so I'm going to have to do everything as it were. Let's see. Hang on a second here. This thing's being a little wonky. Let's see here. Let's see if it'll let me do these things. Well, it wouldn't let me do it that way, but let me try something else. Sound Guy is not present, so I'm going to be doing this, in terms of the sounds and good stuff like that there. So we'll move out smartly and do those things that we need to do, and hopefully things work out accordingly. Okay, so looking at things as it is, of course, we're going to get into the news. Those of you who are in the room hanging out with me tonight, I do appreciate your kind attention. I got other things to do, but you guys hung out with me. So good stuff like that one there. And let me shift a few things around here so I can see what the heck I'm doing. I don't know if you guys heard about it, obviously, but it's been all over the news for blanking ever. And obviously, there was a raid on Donald Trump's stuff in Mar-a-Lago, which is, his location down in Florida. It's basically a historic piece. It's been around for a long time. And, well, it is what it is. And they raided him. Now, the thing about it is, I think it's very, very illustrative of this whole mess and kerfuffle, as it were, is they're describing things as being, they have, no, I don't think they really have that, but they do have something else that is, yeah, okay, they may have caca on him, and I'm having a, kind of a wandering finger there and some stuff. So I might be kind of acting more than a little bit, subconsciously like Sound Guy, but Sound Guy's not here. Okay. So I'm doing all of this, but subconsciously I might be channeling him. Yeah. I could be channeling him.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked
up. Yeah. I might be channeling Sound Guy. Who knows? All right. So anyway, this raid that they did on Trump's property in Florida, I got to say right off the bat, it's very just glaringly obvious that it's a fishing expedition. It's something to try to trip things up so that basically, they can screw with him if he tries to run again in 24. And way, shape, and format of which it's looking like, it looks like it's going to be a situation they're in where Donald Trump pretty much is not going to look nearly as bad as they say he's going to look. Mostly because they're like, well, he has secured items and he shouldn't have taken them and he shouldn't have those and this, that, and the other thing. Constitutionally, the person that can declare something as secret or not secret, translation, if it is a item that is, how do I say this? Something that is, well, secret or not secret. Okay, I'm not going to use any of their terms because, obviously stuff happens when you start using their terms. So I'm just going to say whether stuff is secret or not secret. The president is actually the controlling authority to say whether something is secret or not secret. So it could be said that, this raid on Mar-a-Lago, which was really grabbing a whole bunch of stuff that really, truly, they shouldn't have grabbed in the first place because obviously, if he's got it and, he's basically been talking to them going, do you guys want this stuff? Do you want this stuff back? What are we going to do here? Is there any way, shape, or form of anything that's going to be kind of crazy? Is there anything I got to really worry about here? And pretty much the lawyer has been talking to each other. And then out of the blue, they raided his house. So you're trying now to grab property that could be said as being secret or not secret. And he's the controlling authority that says stuff is secret or not secret. And the dirty little secret is the president pretty much has a whole bunch of secret stuff already in the brain pan. So he hasn't talked and he's not saying anything. So yeah, they're really kind of just grabbing for straws here. Looking at something else too. Next one coming down the pike, we're going to be talking about, of course, the. That's right. Then the Chinese Communist covert viral infection, which we find ourselves still dealing with, and it is a contentious item, of course. For any of the large internet entities, as it were, say like Google, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, any of these guys got to be really, really careful in hearing phrase stuff when you're talking about. Because the last thing you need to have is something really kind of screwing you and, well, taking away your ability to render any kind of statements that are in public. And it's now been stated that there's some new guidelines that have come out from the CDC concerning the. Yes. So essentially, those who have been exposed to are no longer required to sequester themselves and quarantine themselves. People who have not had the and that sound effect at the end is the 44 Magnum shot. So just so we're all on board, we're talking about people who have had the Chinese Communist covert viral infection 44 Magnum sound effect shot. Okay, so everybody's on board now what we're talking about. So people who have not had the Chinese Communist covert viral infection 44 Magnum sound effect shot now have the same guidance as people who have had the yeah, so essentially they're saying that they're no different if you've had it naturally acquired or if you've had the bang. It's now saying that students can stay on class after being exposed to the. So it's not like you basically become sequestered and you have to wear a mask and you got to hide out and all the rest of this fun stuff. So it's not being said that essentially these things that are now out and about, they're pretty much out and about and everybody's sharing and nothing crazy. Students can stay in class after being exposed to. Yeah, and also the biggest one of all is it is no longer recommended to screen those who do not have symptoms. So, translation, it is now shifted from being pandemic to endemic, which means essentially it's debased itself. It's now in a version they're in that it's being shared amongst people, and people are getting it, and people now fighting it off, and good stuff like that there. And it is being seen as something that is not as horrible and nasty and just evil, wicked, nasty, and all over the place. And I'm really channeling sound guy here. I'm having conniptions to start poking in the weird sound effects. So scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but the actress Anne Heche was involved in a really strange situation. Said that she was obviously under influence, crashed her car again until finally it burst into flame. And she was pretty much really horribly injured. And in the process of doing such, she basically caused herself to have a situation where she was not getting enough oxygen to her brain, and she is now considered brain dead. So is essentially what it is in California. Brain dead is you're dead. So that they're now going to probably take her off life support and see if they can, utilize the organ transplant technology to maybe have her give life to other people. Scrolly. I've found this guy to be just an unbelievably evil, nasty, one of those. He's just a. That's about the nicest way I could say. He is a virus. Oh, Martinez Sasquatch. Why did dude have to pull a Saddam and flee the palace? Actually, I'm on a junket, shall we say? I'm on a junket. Okay, so I'm out of town. I'm at another secret, supposedly secret location. Paid for me to come by. But no, Martinez Sasquatch. I'm just in a secret location. And so I'll be back in town, by the time the next show happens. But right now I'm out of town. Okay, so leave that to be said. Have guard kitties in place. Have somebody checking on the animals. All good stuff like that. There, everything's Jake. We're good. Um, so uh, the FBI director and Merrick Garland, and it's just these two guys going back and forth. But Attorney General Merrick Garland uh, says he's condemned the attacks on the integrity of the FBI. Dude, after doing what you guys just did to Donald Trump, you have no king integrity. And I'm the one running the sound effects because sound guy is not available tonight. So I'm the one doing all the sound. Okay, so you have no king integrity. Okay, leave that to what it is. You are just a yeah, he's a virus. He's a virus. Okay, that's about the easiest way to say to handle him is just yeah, just. That's about all I can say about that, guys. He just needs he needs he needs. So he's condemning the attacks on the FBI. Well, the FBI has no integrity. Okay, just let it said to be what it said is what it is. So the FBI is also quickly changing their tune after threats of impeachment. Attorney General Merrick Garland admits he personally approved the raid. Yeah, but he's also now being impeached. There's been a filing by one of the members of one of the houses who's filed, impeachment proceedings. Now, whether it's going to go anywhere with all the Democrats in office, I don't think it will, but you still can file the paperwork and it means something. Patriot Fever, are you in a bunker of a nondescript building where you can make contact with our leader? Mark Levin. Yeah, right. Yeah. I listen to Levin quite a bit too, but the only problem is he tends to get a little bit just bombastic. Yeah, what's the problem with these sons of bitches? He gets very shrill sometimes. He's hard to listen to. I do like Andrew Wilkow quite a lot too. I listen to him like on XM a lot. He's good. Martinez Sasquatch. AGMG needs to pull a Judy D and get it out of our misery. Wow. That's barely airworthy, dude. Barely. Let's see. Now, I did think it was very interesting, of course, with the raid and all the rest of the stuff. And I'm going to pretty much get off this one fairly quickly. But the FBI Trump raid cast Manchin and Schumer, the IRS empowerment bill, as even in a more sinister light. And of course, this one being referenced by CFIF, which is basically like the Center for what are these guys again? Hang on a second here. Center for Individual Freedom. Center for Individual Freedom. It's a good website, by the way. But anyway, the thing about it is these guys are pulling these games because they have finances. Now, the thing about it is if you cut these agencies literally to the quick, to the point where they really truly don't have the ability to exercise this kind of tyrannical overlordship with impunity simply because they just don't have the funds. That's how you fix this problem. You really truly do. Like I said in the in my Gab account entry on this story, I said the RNC can fix this in 5 minutes with a new Congress cutting the agency spending to the bone for FBI, IRS, DOJ, HUD, etc. agencies. 13 Reds and a pint, if anyone's wondering. Wow. He's really going deep dive on that one. But the thing about it is now it's been a situation where people are seeing this for what it is. It really truly was just how do I say this without saying this? Yeah, that's pretty much what happened with that one. And of course, then they're like, no, you, no, you have to listen to us. You have to listen to us. Yeah, it just crashed and burned horribly. Yeah, just not good. And I'm the one running the sound tonight because sound guys obviously, he can't contact me because I'm only running this on my laptop, not my home computer. So I'm the one running the sound here, and I can say anything that they're trying to say at this point from any of the agencies trying to justify the fact that they've raided Trump. Yeah, it's a critical stop, man. It's just not good. Bad. Just, yeah, not good. So they've now done a new poll. The raid on the Mar-a-Lago, Florida home of President Donald Trump has motivated over 70% of American voters ahead of the 2022 midterms to be not charitable to the Democrats. Yeah, poll conducted by the Convention of States Action and the Trafalgar Group showed the raid increased the motivation of 83.3% of Republicans. Uh-oh. The poll also showed that 10.8% were not affected and 6% were undecided. Yeah, well, do the math, folks. 83%. When have you ever had more than two of the Republicans going, Thor's hammer, we are not going to stand. The raid also motivated 55.2% of Democrats, while 34% are unaffected and 11% are undivided. I tend to think even the Democrats are really not liking a tyrannical overlordship kind of government. Even if it is against Trump, they're probably going, you know what? This is going to backfire on our guys as well. Yeah, it's not good times. Let me get out of this one. Pop back out of that. So, what's his name? Hochul or whatever her name is. The governor keeps crapping out more libtardisms. Yeah, upstate New York, which is not the same thing as New York City at all. It is a completely different area, and they just do stuff differently. Upstate, I mean, it's not the same thing. Okay, not at all. It is different. Okay, yeah, it's different. Different. So upstate New Yorkers react to gun bans in Bear Country, and they are not happy because upstate New York, it's pretty not so city-like, man. Let's see. Those guys are pretty much looking at the situation of, well, from leading on high in New York City. And I know I'm doing that Rush Limbaugh thing, but leading on high in New York City, they are decreeing that the whole rest of the state will do such. And the majority of the state, pretty much has its control in the city, which sucks because, New York is not a small state. So the residents of upstate New York are both concerned and confused at the state's new gun control laws, which put severe limitations on the right to carry a firearm in areas that are considered to be, quote unquote, sensitive locations. This includes state parks located in the Adirondack Mountains. There's a lot of bears up there, okay? Trust me on that one. Gun control laws are bad. This one, of course, coming in Patriot Alerts. Gun control laws are bad. Rather simple statement. It carries with it an enormous amount of truth. The Founding Fathers created the Second Amendment as means for the American people to possess weapons in order to preserve life, liberty, and property. A lot of different ways these three things come into jeopardy. Tyrannical government can attempt to strip you your rights. Armed populace can put a stop to that. A thief tries to break into your home, take your stuff. Worse, try to harm your loved ones. Again, only your gun can stop that. But there's also the threat of wild animals too, which is something a lot of people don't think of. That's understandable given that most of us don't live in the woods, but there are some people who do, and for them, wildlife like bears and wolves pose a serious problem. So in late June, Democrat lawmakers rushed to pass a new gun control restrictions after the Supreme Court ruled that a 109-year-old New York law that requires citizens to show proper cause to apply for permit if carry concealed weapons was considered unconstitutional. On July 1, Governor Kathy Hochul, she's not even a good. She kind of looks like, like the evil stepmother of most of the Disney things. Signed a bill establishing a long list of quote-unquote sensitive locations that have essentially become gun-free zones, including airports, houses of worship, government buildings, and parks. The law makes it a felony crime to carry a firearm in these restricted locations starting on September 1. New York hunters and communities living upstate in the nearly 6 million acres of forest preserved in the Adirondacks worry about the new restrictions on carrying guns in parks, but it means they'll no longer be able to hunt or participate in sporting events where they live. Quote, it means pretty much I've got to leave the firearm at home, said Rick Bennett, who owns North Creek Trading Post, a store that sells firearms and fish tackle. Bennett was one of the several upstate New Yorkers interviewed by Reuters who have expressed concerns about the new gun restrictions. It's just bad juju, man. It's really just bad juju. Let's see. Scrolly. Now this one I think is beyond obvious when people say these things and just how much you really think it's just gonna be. Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be nothing but. Yeah, it's just monkey feces. And that's calling it something nice. But supposedly, Janet Yellen promises no rise in IRS audits for middle income Americans. However, there's a small catch. This one also coming in from Patriot Alerts. See if it'll let me do it here. Let's see. Scroll. Promised on Wednesday that the Internal Revenue Service audit rates for Americans less than $400,000 a year won't increase. Sounds like great news, right? Hate these stupid pop-ups. Try to kill them, and of course it kicks you out to another screen. Well, it's not entirely accurate. There's a catch. I mean, isn't there consistency for the federal government, particularly IRS? According to the Daily Wire, the catch of the rate of audits won't increase according to historic levels, which are substantially higher than current levels. This is a prime example of the radical left in positions of power, using and abusing the use of language to try to trick folks into thinking the IRS isn't up to something dirty and underhanded with the sudden massive stockpiling of ammunition and hiring 87,000 employees. Never trust someone who works for the government. Well, I'm married to somebody who works for the government, but she's not in the IRS. But anytime that these guys make it a point that they go, oh, no, it's not going to be like that at all. You can trust us. Yes, you trust me. You trust me. You can't trust him, okay? Because as soon as they get the opportunity, it's just going to be, yeah. They're going to be just sucking your pockets dry every opportunity that they can. CLUS, appreciate you coming by, dude. Russia isn't really dead. He's hiding in his bunker waiting for hashtag SHTF. CLUS also says the room, all guns banned in Adirondacks are just semi-auto rifles. Dude, no, they basically locked them down. So, like, you're carrying a gun in a park. They go, oh, no, this is a sensitive air quotes. This is a sensitive area. You're not allowed to have bang toys. Yeah. Martina Sasquatch, I live in the Bay Area, and mountain lions are half the reason I want to carry. I feel for upstate New York. Dude, I got to tell you, if you live in New York, you're dictated to by the city. And the rest of the state is not that blue. It really isn't. It becomes a lot more red the further north you go. Seriously. Hey, Joe Kaka. Yes, we're talking about President Kaka. We're talking about President Joe Kaka. Love the fart on the end. Republicans are saying it's our turn after the FBI's Trump raid. This one coming in from PatriotAlerts.com. House Republicans race to contend that the FBI search of Donald Trump's house was sabotage derived from policies, and they are getting ready to return to favor to future Hunter Biden examinations intended to hinder Joe Biden in front of a potential re-election bid. Now, I've also heard it posited that, he's not running in 2024. Who cares? How can he possibly even attempt to win with everything going completely just yeah. I mean, how can you say it's anything but when you're talking about Joe? Yeah, we're talking about President Joe Kaka. Yeah. Patriot Fever says, haha, they said nothing about a 40-pound draw. CLUES in the room says, yeah, all guns have been banned in Fairfax County parks for over a year now. Well, I would simply just make it a little bit better than that. They said no firearms. They didn't say anything about no crossbows. You get a seriously ass-kicking crossbow. You have something that pushes about a really, really good arrow speed of probably about 375 to 400 feet per second. That'll center punch just about any animal on the planet and really make them go, okay, that was a bad idea. I just had high-speed acupuncture. Yeah, crossbows work really, really good. And they're old tech and they work really, really good. So they see House Republicans no longer see logical inconsistency between their doubt of the FBI's raid of Mar-a-Lago and the advantage in diving into the transactions of President Child and other relatives. However, it makes you feel any better. They're doing the same thing to everyone who has the Second Amendment by keeping track of firearms and now even ammo purchases. Unless you're doing it with cash off the books. Let's see. Also in there, they're talking about Patriot Alert's also talking about why Trump's warrant is laughable. Well, like I said earlier, I mean, essentially the person that decides somebody is, using files or not using files and whether the files are secret or not, that controlling authority is the president. Let's see. Media requested the former president disclose the warrant for 2 days, claiming his failing to do so would indicate his guilt. Trump gave it to Breitbart to publish, prompting lamenting and anguish because it wasn't redacted. Apparently, it was Trump's role to do that for the government, the same government that could have posted it. Everything in the warrant is absurd because it's all fixated on getting Trump. There's no regulation the FBI won't bend or break to achieve its goals. The issue with the government's warrant interpretation is rather simple. It's far too broad. Now, the thing about it is also when you serve a warrant on somebody, you got to be looking for specific stuff. So if they serve a warrant on some guy's house and they're like, yeah, okay, well, we're raiding this guy's house and he's got tons of methamphetamine and we got all this pile of methamphetamine. And then they look over and they see a pile of machine guns. They don't go, okay, and we just add on here, pile of machine guns. No, what they have to do is they lock the house down right then and there. They clear everybody out and they request the judge do an addendum to the previous search warrant and execute a second search warrant. So search warrant, blah, 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 blah. A would be the one they just served. Search warrant, blah, 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 blah. B would be the second one they then served saying, okay, pile of meth. Okay, got that one. Pile of machine gun. Oh, pile of machine guns. Okay, so we now can go after the pile of machine guns. But if they grab anything other than the methamphetamine and the pile of machine guns and say, this is evidence. We have this guy dead to right for having child porn. Guess what? It's not going to be legitimate in court because they didn't have a search warrant for the guy going, well, I'm really into blah, blah, blah and child porn and all the rest of this happy horse stuff. Because they didn't have a warrant for it, they can't stick the guy with the charge. They can only stick him with the methamphetamine and the machine guns. But if he has the pile of child porn, the worst they can do with that is simply take it out someplace and destroy it. Because if they try to take him into court and go, okay, we got you for the methamphetamine, we have you for the pile of machine guns. Oh, yeah, you got child porn. So we have you for 3 charges. The judge is going to go, did you have a search warrant for the child porn? They're going, no. We found it there next to the methamphetamine and the machine guns. So we figured it was just one fell swoop. We just grab it all and bring it over here and bloop. Exactly, Martina Sasquatch. It's fruit of the poisoned tree. So dude is not going to get stuck with the child porn charge, but he is going to get fried for the methamphetamine and the machine guns. So that's how that one works. But if they seize property and they seize things that are outside the scope of the actual administered search warrant, it is inadmissible anywhere. But the thing about it is the way the Democrats do stuff is they always seem to have this seriousness of the charge. Whether you're guilty or not, it's the seriousness of the charge. So while dude would be guilty of having, guilty of having child porn, they couldn't actually charge him with having child porn because they didn't execute a proper search warrant on it. all the evidence would then be inadmissible in court. So anything that they're trying to stick Trump with right now that wasn't in the search warrant, he can say, look, give me my stuff back, okay? Because you really overreached here. I don't care if you're trying to play games and trying to make copies of everything. I want my stuff back. And as a matter of fact, I want my stuff back because also you're on camera taking the stuff you weren't supposed to be taking. And that's the other thing, too, is the FBI was going, oh, you better turn off those surveillance cameras. And they're like, nah, we ain't turn off squat, dude. Go away. So anyway, the thing about it is they posted this thing up and made them look really, really bad in the process. Oops. Yeah, if you want to make somebody look like, that's how you do it. Big time, made them look like caca. So here's something I find really striking about a lot of these guys that are currently in office. They seem to have this really self-destructive, just masochistic, please beat me up when I'm trying to come up for election thing. I'm going to go down in flames because I want the Democrats to succeed and I want the Republicans to fail. And I don't care if I go down in flames in the process. Anyway, the new spending bill committee end 5 Democrats currently in office. So the way it's looking now is it's looking down to 5 Democrats that are in trouble are Tom O'Halloran, Democrat of Arizona, Cindy Axne, A-X-N-E, Democrat Iowa, Jared Golden, Democrat Maine, Matt Cartwright, Democrat Pennsylvania, Marcy Kaptur, Democrat Ohio. So anyway, it's really looking not great for these guys right now because this is something that they can absolutely say, you did this to the American people, man. You basically, how do I say this without saying this? I'll find the sound effect here, but I'm the one that's going to be responsible for this because sound guy is not here. But yeah, how's it going to sound?
Come on, squeal.
Yeah. I may have picked the wrong file on that one, but I think it's going to sound a whole hell of a lot like that. Yipes. This one is kind of interesting. You'll have to do the new math to understand this one correctly, but supposedly sub $4 per gallon gasoline is cheaper than sub $2 per gallon gasoline. Yeah, this one coming in from patriotalerts.com, and supposedly, quote unquote, Biden's people are celebrating gas prices below $4 for getting that 40% increase to the pump price when he took office. White House aides and members of the press minimize the larger context of record high rates and the way it advantageous to the president, Joe Biden, when the national average gas prices drop below $4 per gallon for the very first time in several months. AAA reported the prices have decreased to $3.99 per gallon since Thursday, whereas data from the Energy Information Administration shows the prices were above $5 per gallon in early June and $3.53 in the days before the Russian incursion into the Ukraine. But the price of a gallon of gas on late January 2021 was $2.39. A 67% increase when Biden took office, and a cumulative increase of over 70% before the Russian invasion. You can't blame Putin for that one there, Joe Kaka. White House officials painted the event as a win for Biden. For example, the National Economic Commission Director Brian Deese told CNN that somewhat reduced costs indicate, quote, meaningful savings to people who are going to feel it in their lives, end quote, and that consumers may anticipate prices going down a bit further. So why did the Senate and the Congress and all those jaspers give us this major spending spree when we're really not looking good right now and we're stagflating? And of course, the Fed keeps jacking with the interest rates. Not good times. Not good. I really wish I had a better sound effect for this one, but supposedly the CDC says that they're how do I say this without saying this? I know. They're controlling influence and guidance upon, yeah, you know it and you love it, but they admitted that they were wrong. U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention says Americans no longer need to quarantine if they're exposed to a sweeping announcement that rolls back several of the agency's planned, and I'm using the word planned, recommendations. A new quote-unquote streamlined guidance released Thursday. Health officials removed the distinction between those people who have had the well, how do I say this without saying this? Other simply just to say those people who haven't had. And that last part of the sound effect is the 44 Magnum sound effect shot. So those people who haven't had the Chinese Communist covert viral infection sound effect 44 Magnum shot. So the a new streamlined guidance system, the other health move distinctions between people who have had the 44 Magnum shot and those who are not up to date with the meaning the CDC guidance is now the same for everyone. The agency says individuals exposed to someone with no longer needs to quarantine and should instead wear a high-quality face mask for 10 days and get tested for 5 days. Those who test positive for the should isolate, while those who are sick should come out of isolation once they test negative for the additionally testing to screen people for is no longer recommended for anyone who does not have the symptoms of protocols for schools have also been updated. The CDC has ended its test to stay strategy, which required children to be exposed to okay, those who don't have I clicked the wrong one. Those who don't have the who've been exposed to it, but continue to test negative to continue in-person learning in school. The agency has also removed the recommendation that kids in different classrooms avoid mixing. Translation, these guys are just full of just hit. Just full of hit. Full of it. Quote, the CDC is admitting it's wrong here, although they won't put it in the words. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, professor of medicine at Stanford University School of Medicine, told the Epoch Times. What they say is, well, the population is more, well, they have more of that. And has more natural bang. Now, and that's the time science has changed. Okay, folks, the science doesn't change, okay? The politics on this stuff changes. We're not talking about something that's completely just new to the world. What it is something that's been out. People get exposed to it. People have their bodies acquire immunity to it. And then you don't need to basically be running around and getting the you don't need that, okay? If you got natural immunity, you don't need the bang. But a large percentage of the U.S. population has had natural immunity or protection from prior infection. But Bhattacharya noted, with over 80% of the elderly population had protected from the severe disease from the previous infection or both since 2021. This is 2 years late, but it's a good step, Bhattacharya added. A growing number of Americans say they've already returned to living their lives without disruption from 4 in 10 Americans say they've returned to a quote normal pre life. According to a new survey from the Edinburgh Public Policy Center, this is an increase from prior survey in January when only 16% said their lives were back to normal. A majority of Americans, 54%, also said they never or rarely wear a mask when indoors with people who are not from their household. This is the first time a majority has said they never or rarely wear a mask since the question was first asked in September 2021. After more than 2 years of experience with and its effects, the public is largely aware of the nature and risks of the infection, said Kathleen Hall Jameson, director of the Annenberg Public Policy Center. A consistent percentage does not believe a will ever be restored, but a growing number have returned to their life. We can only hope that each group has accurately calculated the risks and benefits that their decision entails. Translation, I really have not been ever so enamored that I have to go out and get myself the, no, I don't want to get the, and I have no reason to get the, let's try it again. I have no reason to get the, mostly because, oh yeah, I've already had, the Chinese Communist covert viral infection twice. Pedro River says, I wonder if the mask will be repurposed as prophylaxis for the monkeypox. Could be, but the only problem is when you're dealing with the, you got to remember that they might try to take it off your face. Okay, so if you have a situation where you're dealing with the monkeypox, you really have to watch out to make sure they don't take the mask off your face and potentially do something very, very naughty to you. And
Come on, squeal, squeal.
hopefully you don't experience the monkeypox to that degree. Okay, that would be very, very bad to have the monkeypox, monkey popping you, as it were. Ooh, yeah, but the CDC had finally admitted they're wrong. Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not. This is another one of DeSantis' little stick in the eye things that he's doing to the Democrats, the liberals, anybody that can be possibly slightly, partially, even more than a little bit offended, because he ain't playing, man. He's the real stuff. Okay, if you really truly want to talk about somebody who truly acts like he's got a set. Yeah, that's Ron DeSantis, okay? That's definitely Ron DeSantis. So Florida's now rolling out a Don't Tread on Me license plate. So basically the Gadsden flag, of which I don't have behind me this time because I'm not at home. So that yellow flag with the snake on it, Don't Tread on Me, that's going to be a flag that's going to be in Florida. And they are completely losing they're really losing their, I don't know if they're losing to Joe Kaka, but they're losing Kaka. Big time. So Florida's taking orders for a new license plate that Governor Ron DeSantis says, quote, sends a clear message to out-of-state cars. Don't tread on me. The governor put the tweet out July 30, announcing that the Gadsden flag specialty plates were, quote, on pre-order status with Florida Veterans Foundation, a veterans advocacy group, to receive $25 per plate. If I lived in Florida, I would have one. Quote, the free state of Florida has a new license plate for pre-order that benefits the Florida Veterans Foundation. It sends a clear message to out-of-state cars, don't tread on me or Florida, DeSantis posted on Twitter. Visit your local tax collector to purchase your pre-sale voucher. Love the Florida DeSantis new license plate, don't tread on me, when Twitter said. Twitter user said. This is how we feel about our great country right now. That is right now being systematically destroyed by the radical left. The Gadsden flag, depicting a coiled rattlesnake against the yellow background, dates back to the revolutionary times as a symbol of rebellion against government tyranny. More recently, for many, it's become to symbolize a far-right ideology and stop the steal movement, contesting the results of the 2020 presidential election. Now, YouTube, I'm just reading that, okay? I'm not saying whether, Trump won or didn't lose or contesting this or who does that. I'm simply reading this article, okay? Said, don't flag my video. The same time DeSantis announced the specialty plate, Project Veritas and Gun Owners of America leaked an FBI internal, quote-unquote, domestic terrorism symbols guide. According to the leaked document, the Gadsden flag has become synonymous with anti-government, anti-authority, violent extremists, and violent military militia violent extremists, or MVEs. MVEs justify their existence with the Second Amendment due to the mention of well-regulated militia, as well as the right to bear arms, an FBI internal guide said. Okay, I'm going to call this right here and right now. FBI, you need to be defunded. You need to have somebody grab you by the short and curlies and give you a really hard one lesson on how not to act like a bunch of you bunch of goose-stepping morons trying to step on the rights and the liberties of free people of this country by saying, oh, no, a flag from the past is now a malicious symbol of violent extremism. Never mind the fact there's a bunch of patriots that have tired of being stepped on, and they're tired of an overreaching government entity such as you guys in the FBI, who basically do stuff when you're really, truly not legally able to do these things, and you're now trying to put scare tactics in people. I got bad news for you. First and foremost, most people are just going to go, you know what? I got a really bad itch right there. I got a really, really bad itch. That's what they're going to say to you right off the bat. The second thing they're going to say is they're going to tell any of the representatives, defund that agency. Reduce its amount of power, remove its authority to do these things, and stop it from playing these little swamp creature games that they've been doing for the longest time. They need to be pulled back hard. So here's the other part that's really kind of funny. However, after the information became public, the FBI's National Press Office, which normally declines to comment on leaked documents, issued a press release saying, quote, we would point out an online article referencing an allegedly leaked document on symbols that may be used by militia violent extremists, quote unquote MVE, contains the following words highlighted in bold at the top of the document. The use of sharing of these symbols alone should not independently be considered evidence of MVE presence or affiliation or serve as an indicator of illegal activity, as many individuals use these symbols for their original historic meaning or other non-violent purposes. Yeah, and there's a bunch of other people who use that symbol to say, don't tread on me. So basically, that was a big backpedal on their part, mostly because they got their pee-pee slapped. And they got their pee-pee slapped hard. And they're going, we got found out because we got made public. Yeah, here's the biggest problem. A lot of these liberal guys really, truly have not gotten, rammed upside their head with a 2x4. And a lot of these Democrat agencies run kind of, by the way, they've always done stuff. This is not the 1950s. This is not the 1960s. This is not the 1970s or the 1980s. It's not even the 1990s, okay? Information sources on the internet right now, information sourcing on the internet is light speed. There's no way in the world that you guys could stomp out all the forest fires you're making for yourselves by playing these games on the American public, mostly because as soon as you basically tell the one guy, we're going to knock you off the Twitter feed and, you're not going to have this information. I told you guys a million times, and I'm going to keep saying it and saying it and saying it and saying it. There is no delete button on the internet. Anything you put out there or anything that goes out there cannot be squelched. It can't be silenced. It can't be erased. And it's going to be in somebody's hard drive somewhere. Because case in point, it is not very hard at all. Excuse me, I'm spilling stuff like a dumbass. It is not very hard at all Hopefully my laptop doesn't die. I just spilled water on it. Yep. It is not very hard at all to take a hard drive and store information for later. Case in point, these guys basically play these games and they do these stupid things and they hope it's not going to blow up in their face with a spectacular boom. But anytime that you do this stuff, you got to realize there's going to be somebody that has information. They're going to share that information with somebody else. That information is going to get dispersed. And obviously, you guys in any of these agencies that think that you're, immutable, you're not. Okay? There's going to be somebody that truly can take that information, share it with somebody else, and it's out there. Okay? It is not immutable. It is out there. Okay? Hopefully my stuff is still working here. Hopefully. Let's see. I'm going to leave it running. I'm not turning it off. I'm going to let the heat go. Basically, hopefully, cook out some water. It's not a MacBook, so I think I'm good in that regard. Okay. Patriot Fever in the room. Starting a GoFundMe for Gaston Flag for Patriot Studio. Patriot Fever also says, not to mention those agencies should not be able to function without the other. IRS agents without firearms authorized to use deadly force. Dude coming in 5x5. Okay, appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I did do a little minor spill there. Hopefully, everything is still working. I know it's not a MacBook. MacBooks don't like water. This is not a MacBook. It's actually a Dell, but I'm going to leave it running. So let's see. Scrolly. This one is actually a picture, and I cannot do this justice, but simply just to read it to you guys. Of all people, Liz Cheney really, truly, she made a whole hell of a lot of friends recently because, she's done this whole, I like hanging out with Democrats more than Republicans now. Well, somebody's come to her aid and said, you know what? I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and say that she's just ducky. Who basically is now supporting Liz Cheney? Al Franken. I cannot do this justice. The most unfunny guy who was ever on Saturday Night Live, ever. The most unfunny guy ever on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, Al Franken. The guy who's now a representative. He's actually got the blue check mark on Twitter, so he's a guy in good standing. Yeah. Quote, Al Franken, and this one's dated on August 13. I've decided to endorse @Rep Liz Cheney for the Republican nomination for the House seat in Wyoming. It's my first time endorsing a GOP primary, but I think Al Franken's support will carry a lot of weight with carry a lot of weight with Wyoming Republicans. Dude, no. They don't really even know who the hell you are. But it's laughable. It truly is just laughable. I mean, I put it in there on the post. It was like, ROLF. We're all going to laughing. Wow, what a huge endorsement. Pathetic. Unfunny liberal hack. Who thinks he's a political vanguard? Wow. Of all people, man. Al Franken. That's like saying Bill Nye the Science Guy likes who you really stand for. Talk about irrelevant. It really doesn't hold any water. This one also coming back also in this Donald Trump thing. But the Democrats better hope the FBI got something more damning from Mar-a-Lago. Wow. We never had a better idea what documents the FBI retrieved from the former President Donald Trump. After Attorney General Merrick Garland announced to be issuing a filing to unseal the warrant, a sieve-like leaking has begun. Both the Wall Street Journal and Breitbart News obtained copies of the warrant and the list of items taken from Mar-a-Lago. If the information has been leaked so far as any indication, Democrats better start praying hard the Bureau found something much worse that's already been released. These guys really, truly screwed up massively. I mean, they even took Donald Trump's passports. Why would you take somebody's passports? It really holds no bearing, holds no reason. What are you going to try to do? Oh, yeah, we're going to keep you from leaving the country. Redonkulous. And so out of touch that completely, it just doesn't even smack them upside the head when they don't even read the stats from polls. Yeah, exactly, Patriot Fever. It was definitely at this moment.
It was at this moment that he knew.
Exactly. It was definitely that moment. So a new poll shows it's over for Biden and the radical Democrats. This one's coming in from RepublicanDaily.com. Democrats have managed to do something very rare, and it's got a vast majority of Americans to agree on something. The only trouble is what they're agreeing on is that the Democrats and President Joe Biden are leading us down a horrendous path, and we've all had enough. According to a new Fox News poll, 75% of Americans are dissatisfied with the nation under the direction of Biden. And before you dismiss this as invalid, because this is on Fox News, other data suggests it's actually right on the money. As the post-millennial notes, this high percentage of Americans being dissatisfied with the Biden administration continues to repeat itself. In July, a New York Times Siena College poll reflected the same outcome as 75% of Americans believe the country is heading in the wrong direction. The Times wrote that the poll reflected, quote, a country gripped by a pervasive sense of pessimism, end quote, with the sense of national dread, quote, that spans every corner of the country, every age range and racial group, cities, suburbs, and rural areas, as well as both political parties. Wow. Okay. The only other time I can think of anything that's ever been like so maybe not even lockstep, but so demonstratively, dropping my mouse, sorry, so demonstratively able to be just, a group of like-minded individuals were pretty much seeing things as it were, was the guy who absolutely just whizzed it all away better than anybody. And I'm talking about, of all people, George W. Bush. After we got hit in, well, obviously 9/11, he had 86% of the country backing him in just about anything he was going to do to say it's time to lock and load, kick ass, and take names. Oh, my stars and garters. Wow, we normally don't fall that much in lockstep. Ever. 75% of the population. That's a huge number. Huge. This one kind of tickles me more than a little bit. But the Trump-backed Liz Cheney challenger is leading big in the poll, ahead in the primary. So a new poll shows that Republican Liz Cheney, excuse me, I got another pop-up, of Wyoming badly trailing challenger Harriet Hageman on Tuesday's primary nears. Hageman, who is endorsed by former President Donald Trump, received 57% of support in a poll by the University of Wyoming. Cheney, who was bitterly attacking Trump of the Capitol excursion, has received 28%. Folks, that's huge. Wyoming only has a population of maybe about 500,000 or 600,000. That is huge. If you shift 30 to 40,000 people, you're done. You're literally done. Real color politics, average on the polls, and the race has Hageman leading by 25.5%. Quote, the race for Republican nomination appears to be a referendum on Cheney, as it usually is when the incumbent seeks re-election, said Jim King, a professor of political science at UW. So I guess that would be, where's UW? I don't know where UW is, but okay, I'm good with it. Oh, University of Wyoming. There we go. Cheney only had 50% support among Republicans planning to vote in the primary. It's damning numbers, folks. It's really, really not looking good for her at all. I'm going to say that this is probably about the worst case of suicide I think I've ever seen in my life. We are talking about, of all things, how can you say this without saying this? Other than simply saying dude was more than a little bit, no, I need something better one than that one. Hang on a second here. Need to find a better one than that one. Dude was, well, besides doing the Wilhelm scream. Hang on a second here. Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. I will find what I'm looking for. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the guy basically charged the U.S. Cap. I cannot do this one justice, folks. The guy charged the Capitol. Yeah, that kind of works. begins firing a gun in the air and then sets himself on fire with the car burning and then shoots himself. So an unidentified man set his car on fire, drove into the U.S. Capitol Capitol barricade before exiting his vehicle and proceeding to fire a weapon indiscriminately. The report has been confirmed by multiple sources, including PBS News correspondent Lisa Desjardins. Desjardins. Wow, what a name was that? Lisa Desjardins. Quote, multiple sources told me overnight a man set his car on fire, drove into the barricade by the U.S. Capitol, began shooting indiscriminately, and ultimately shot and killed himself. One source told me no one else is injured, noted the Capitol Police have not confirmed the details. Quote, I have no information on the identity or possible motivation of the shooter. Capitol Police have undergone an exhausting few months due to threats against the Supreme Court and the Congress. Worst case of suicide I've ever seen. That's all I really got to say about that one, man. Wow. This one I find kind of interesting, jumping back to Joe Kaka, but supposedly Biden's White House is coming in from PatriotJournal.com. Biden's White House gives Trump supporters a direct order. Press secretary asks Americans to remain peaceful. Dude, you ain't telling me squat. You are not my commander. So Joe's role, here another pop-up. Joe's role in the unprecedented raid on Donald Trump's home remains unclear. Biden claims he had, quote unquote, no idea that his own FBI was about to go after his political rival. No, he didn't know at all, did he? No, not at all. Didn't know it at all. So he also said he never knew about his son's business dealings. How'd that work out? Yeah. But now the White House is trying to shift the focus on the Trump's understandably outraged supporters. The official statement once again slanders millions of Americans. From Breitbart, the White House urged Americans to remain peaceful after the FBI raided former President Donald Trump's home on Monday. Quote, we would ask Americans to remain peaceful in this time, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said during a daily briefing when asked about angry Trump supporters. Really? Oh, remain peaceful. Kind of like all those riots that, the other side had on the other side of the aisle where they burned things and blew stuff up. And we were just supposed to allow it to happen because it was just political statement. Everything was cool. Nobody was doing anything that really hurt anybody. It's just, political statements and those things are allowed. Yeah. Patriot fever, Illinois shifts on that good weekend in Chicago with just lead poisoning, I think. Oh, wow. Ouch. Yeah, people nibbling on the paint chips. Yeah, that's always the cause of people doing unscrupulous things. I don't think so, dude. This one had me in tears. Tears, I tell you. MRC Newsbusters. Quote, on MSNBC's 11th hour host Stephanie Ruhle, R-U-H-L-E, spent the opening segment on her show on Tuesday evening with an assembled panel to discuss the fallout from the FBI's raid on former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida. While the panel discussion itself could constitute a Newsbusters blog in and of itself, what Ruhle said at the end of the segment outshined everything else in its stupidity. Wrapping up the segment and about to head to a commercial break, Ruhle sanctimoniously claimed that the FBI raid on Trump's Florida home wasn't exactly a raid. Quote, we keep hearing a lot of people call what the FBI did in Mar-a-Lago a raid, but for fact's sake, here's the deal. Law enforcement doesn't even use the term raid, Ruhle wailed. I really want to just say something here, but you know what? I'm going to have to use the classic old, hang on. I'm going to have to find her first name again. Let's see, what's her name? Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, I got it. Stephanie, you ignorant slut. That's about as good as I got. That's about as good as I can go without crossing the line and just going full on, but I'm really tempted to say something that is more than a little bit, spicy. Because this is just, this person is just beyond the pale in terms of ignorance. Oh, man. So the justice applied for got a court-ordered search warrant that gave them lawful authority on the Trump's home, as consistent with the Fourth Amendment probable cause requirement allowing agents to seize items as permitted by the judge and outlined in the warrant, Rule huffed. Continuing with her temper tantrum, Rule proclaimed that, quote, words matter, and calling a court-ordered search a raid suggests some degree of aggression and lawlessness. Oh, gee. That is simply inconsistent with the facts of the law, and those are the facts. There's a reason why this life support unit for a female organ of regeneration, and that's about as nice as I could possibly put it. There's a reason why this life support unit for the human, the female human organ of regeneration is on MSNBC. Okay, and that's about as nice as I can put it. Arguing the FBI didn't raid Trump's home is semantics at best. A simple Google search of the word raid will reveal that the legal definition of raid is, quote, a surprise visit by police to arrest unsuspecting people and seize illicit goods. While Trump obviously wasn't arrested, the FBI did indeed seize illicit goods. Every time Rule goes off script, she proves how dumb she really is. She should stick to simply reading the teleprompter. Rule is freaking out over people calling a raid was made possible by AT&T and Sleep Number. The information listed so you can let them know about the propaganda that they fund. Wow. I don't have AT&T or Sleep Number bed, but this silly life support unit for your human organ of regeneration. Wow. Hi, it's not a raid. Stop calling it that. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, geez. I got some more stuff here. It's kind of fun. This one coming in from Analyzing America. There's analysis that's revealed a close connection between TikTok and Chinese media. So we're talking quite about the Chinese Communist covert viral infection. We're talking about the Chinese Communist covert something. They're into it. So Forbes has reportedly found that 300 current employees of TikTok and its parent company ByteDance previously worked for the Chinese state media publication. Interesting. Following the analysis of the data, Forbes said that 15 current ByteDance employees were both working for both ByteDance and the Chinese state media. Many Americans, including President Donald Trump, has criticized TikTok for its ties with the Chinese ruling party. TikTok has not faced major challenges by the Biden administration. No, because they were given special gravitas of employment by the Biden administration. Trump was going to slam them hard. He basically got a free ride, after they got a free ride after he left office, and Biden said, no, everything's just ducky. Have fun. Joe Biden signed an executive order asking the federal government to evaluate security threats posed by the Chinese big tech as it operates in the U.S. Forbes stated their research revealed, quote, significant connections between TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, and its propaganda arm of the Chinese government, which has been investing heavily in using social media to amplify disinformation that serves the Chinese Communist Party. Sound familiar? Forbes reported that TikTok, quote, does not currently label accounts controlled by Chinese state media, but they have them. Yes. Jennifer Banks, a spokesperson for ByteDance, responded on ByteDance makes hiring decisions based purely on the individual's professional capability to do the job. For our China market businesses that include people who previously worked in government or state media positions in China. Outside of China, employees also bring experience in government, public policy, and media organizations from dozens of markets. This news is just the latest in the string of reports highlighting TikTok's connection to the Chinese government. In June, BuzzFeed News reported that ByteDance employees in China had accessed sensitive information about American TikTok users. I feel like with these tools, there's some backdoor to access user data in almost all of them, BuzzFeed reported in outside consulting remarking about ByteDance. Gizmodo also recently reported on the company's attempt to downplay its Chinese ownership. Okay, they only do these things because they're concerned because they get found out. That's the only reason why they do these things. Let's see. This one's interesting. GOP Representative Jim Jordan on Sunday told Fox News that 14 whistleblowers from within the FBI have come forward with concerns about the Department of Justice's alleged political bias following the FBI raid on President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate last week. pop up here. Hang on a sec. Try to kill it. Hang on. I hate these stupid ass pop ups. Like, oh, it's a free website, but these stupid things make it possible for us to this, that, and the other thing. Da, 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 da. So basically, 14 whistleblowers in the FBI have come forward with concerns about the Department of Justice's alleged political bias following the raid. 14 FBI agents come to office as whistleblowers, and they're good people. There are lots of good people in the FBI. It's the top that is the problem, the Ohio Republican told the outlet. Some of these are good agents are coming to us, telling us what's going on. The political nature now of the Justice Department, he added. The Bureau last week raided Trump's estate. And of course, Trump confirmed, raid with a lot of posts, this, that, and the other thing, blah, blah, blah. There's a dark times for our nation in my beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida. It's currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents, Trump said in the statement. Nothing like this has ever happened to a president of the United States before. That's true. But I've seen it posited. I've seen this notion made very, very clear. This might actually be the situation in which it is now you pretty much have declared in chess, they have somebody in check. Because if you think about it, Obama's a past president. Biden will be a past president. And anybody else, forward or back, from this point forward, can have the same kind of treatment. Unless somebody in Congress and Senate has a set of nuts and they make an actual amendment to the Constitution that says you may not do these things unless something goes so above the pale that you just have to. You just have to. You don't simply go, well, I really like this guy. This guy was in office. He never should have been there. We don't really like him. So we're going to give him a secondary case of introspection after the fact, and we're going to make his life rough because, well, we just don't like him. Speaking of people who are really, truly, making things really interesting for other people because they don't like them and they want to make things hard for them. Yeah, this whole thing about the memes that have been generated by Elon Musk, he's right. He is absolutely right. Elon Musk nailed this one absolutely perfectly. And it was a situation where the meme essentially said, oh, I'm not going to find out these things because, they're not going to tell me what I need to know before I purchase Twitter. But if we go to court, guess what? I'm going to find out these things I need to know about Twitter before I buy it. So a judge on Monday ruled that Twitter must turn over documents from the former executive that would show how many quote-unquote fake accounts are on the platform. Quote, Twitter needs to give Elon Musk documents for the former Twitter executive who Musk said is a key figure in calculating the amount of fake accounts on the platform, according to a Monday court order, Reuters reported. But bot and spam accounts on Twitter have become a central issue over the legal fight on whether Musk, who is Tesla's Incorporated's chief executive, must complete his $44 billion acquisition of the social media company, the report noted. Yeah, but here's the thing. Why is he going to buy something for an overvalued stock price when a good chunk of them is not even real people? It doesn't generate the kind of traffic that they say it's going to generate. It's not worth as much. But the thing about it is they're saying, well, we're going to force you to buy this thing for $44 billion. Well, if the truth comes out that it's only got 1/3 less people because they're all fake accounts, it's not worth $44 billion. And he might actually get Twitter for a song. I don't know if you guys know about this guy or not, but supposedly there's a Pennsylvania Democrat named John Fetterman who is running up against Dr. Oz in one of the races in Pennsylvania. Now, Dr. Oz has asked to have debates with this guy for there's supposed to be 5 debates, and this guy won't stand up, won't talk to Dr. Oz, won't even basically do anything except do his little rah-rah sessions. Well, the guy's had a stroke, okay? But he's also a raging, hard-won, raging socialist. I mean, really, really hardcore. He's like, if you're going to vote for so-and-so, don't vote for me, blah, blah, blah. It's just really beyond. I think he's more left than Bernie Sanders, which is really saying something. I mean, he is hugely, hugely, hugely socialist. I mean, he's doing his little speech thing here, and he's basically standing there wearing a black hoodie. He's not even dressed up and trying to look good. He's standing there wearing a black hoodie, and his speech is like kind of sporadic and stuttering and not so good, and he seems to be kind of like losing his play. He's not all there, folks. I mean, he's had a stroke, so who knows if he's in good enough health to even be able to do these things he needs to do. Last story I'm looking at right now, looking at the CDC. Well, they might be actually admitting that they were wrong. U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention says Americans no longer need to, hide out because you might actually have a danger from the Chinese Communist covert viral infection. Yeah, well, it could be said that you guys basically got found out, okay? It is what it is, all right? So the new streamlined guidance on Thursday, health officials removed the distinction between those who have had the bang, those who haven't had the bang, meaning the CDC guidance is now the same for everybody. I'm just wondering what's going on about how much different is it going to be once you have all these things basically being said, or other countries going to follow suit? Because the absolute last place you're going to have any of these lack of freedom things in place is definitely going to be probably on a cruise ship. So if you're on a cruise ship, you got a couple thousand people. I've been on 2, 3, 4. I was on number 3 and number 4, the largest cruise ships. Now it's number 4, number 5, because they have a new one that's even bigger. But you got 2, 3, 6,000 people all, kind of in the same general area. And potentially, if somebody's got something, you're sharing with each other. But if most people are immune from, dealing with the, I think you're good to go. And once the cruise ships are like the free reign, I think pretty much, I keep dropping my mouse. I think pretty much then you are good to go, and you don't have to worry about stuff, and everything is going to be good to go, and everything will be moving out. Let's see what else is going on here. Oh, in the room, Pedro Fever says, yeah, but what about monkey pops? I tend to think it's going to be dealt with very, very nicely, because there is a way to cure monkey pops.
Come on, squeal, squeal.
Fixes it every time. I think that'll take care of it perfectly. We won't have to worry about monkey pops. The only thing we'll have to worry about then is, dude, no, we don't have to worry about, no, we do not have to worry at all about, no, monkey feces will not be the problem, okay? Monkey pops, maybe, but not monkey feces. I think we're going to be good to go on that one. All right, folks, I'm going to break up with this one. I appreciate your kind attentions and good stuff like that there. You guys have many other places to go, but you guys decided to hang out with me. And I truly appreciate your kind attentions and good stuff like that there. Hang on a second. Let me get the right one. There we go. That's the right voice. Yay. All right, you folks hanging out with me tonight. I guess I will be rolling out. And this one being the mobile operation therein and good stuff like that there. Truly appreciate your kind attentions. You guys had many other places to go, but you decided to hang out with me on this special occasion of me not being here, but here. So I'm not there, I'm here. Good stuff like that there. So we're back on those folks. Eat your dinner as always, you know you love it, and I truly appreciate your kind attentions. Get a gold star for attendance, and on this special occasion, I'll give you 2 gold stars. I'm not at my normal location. I'm at a double secret probation location. Oh, no. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one. And I'll move out smartly and good stuff like that there. See you guys next week, and I'll catch you guys again. See ya.